here now. So good evening. This is Julie White, and I want to introduce you all to our special guest. Amy, are you on here?
I am. I might be muted though, if you muted everybody.
I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. It's great to see your beautiful face. And
Thank you.
let me just introduce you to everyone. So Amy Holmwood has been an investor and entrepreneur in the health and wellness and sustainable living sectors for a decade, while simultaneously building a successful financial services practice for 30 years. She's been one of the leading female insurance producers in the world, holding life and health insurance licenses in 48 states and a Series 7 security license with the NASD and so on and so forth. She's been a pioneer in product innovation, distribution, working with Wall Street institutions, a variety of them. And anyway, right now, she is a Pro 9 in our company. She's a top leader. She is just amazing, a wealth of information. She's great at training. Her primary business focus today is educating people on scientifically validated natural approaches to achieve better health, longevity, and financial opportunities within the wellness and genetic space. She's currently working on strategic wellness initiatives in the U.S. and Asian markets with the world's leading nutrigenomics company pioneering NRF1 and NRF2 transcriptional protein expression nutraceuticals. Wow, that's awesome, Amy. And we're so thrilled to have you on here tonight.
Thank you.
Say hello to everyone and go ahead and begin sharing.
I love working with you, Julie. And you know, it's funny, the last time you and I did a webinar, it was maybe a year ago, and I still have that recorded and saved. And it was really great. You've done such a great job being a leader in the company and just everything that you do. You know, I keep meeting people. I was just in Pennsylvania on Friday, meeting people that are in your team that came to an event there, and we missed you.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was really a great event, but it's just great to see the growth that, you know, you've had, and just also the people that you've attracted to come into your team are just wonderful people. And it's just great to be a part of LifeVantage. And that's really part of why I'm involved in the company, is being involved with wonderful entrepreneurs. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. Julie had asked me to talk with you guys about the invite. And, you know, it's something that is really the most important part of our business, is mastering the invite. So I don't know, Julie, if that's what you want me to kind of run with, or if you want to ask me some questions, I'm happy to go in any direction you want to go.
Absolutely. You can run with the invite. That would be great. And maybe at the end, if there's a question or two.
Sure. Okay. So I've been involved for 5 years, and really things have changed. I would say things have changed with the company's story quite a bit. And so I have been, I'm going to say, not reformulating, but retooling a little bit part of our story. And that's making me change my invite a little bit because, you know, for all of us, we're exactly where we're supposed to be in this company. You know, I'm working with people that are growing slowly, growing quickly. And for each of us, it's just a matter of making a decision about how you're going to do your invite, to be quite honest with you, and how often you're going to invite people to look at this. I mean, that's really going to be the differentiator, and consistently doing that every single day. And it doesn't really matter what you say to people, to be really clear. It's really more your intention and your posturing that's going to be what people are going to recognize and be attracted to. So we've gone through so many different trainings, all of us, on what to say and how to say things. And I know in my team, the person who enrolled me has been very diligent and sort of somewhat regimented about how we say the invite, and to make sure that it's a business invite. Because if we want to grow this business, for each of us to be able to attract people and have other people be successful, we have to train them on inviting to the business, not just the science part of this. And I know, I'm so glad you read that resume, Julie, because I'm going to change that. I need to change that. That was something you asked me to send to you real quick, and I hadn't read that in a little bit, and I really want to change that really about what it is that we're doing. We are educating people on NRF1 and NRF2 transcriptional protein expression, and how to monetize that in the social commerce business. So when I'm talking to people now, Skip Campbell was our trainer at our LV Academy just recently in Bethesda, Maryland. And, I've heard Skip, I've never missed an event. I've been to every single corporate event. I've been to every academy. I've been to every premier school. I never missed anything. And I really encourage you guys to take that same approach to running your business. But what I heard from Skip this time was I really heard what he was saying. And I think maybe I was just ready to hear it. But the most important thing that we can do in inviting is find out if the person is what Skip Campbell calls, if they're at high noon, or his son, Seth Campbell, uses this, and there's videos on this. And high noon is simply when a person is in a place where the pain to continue with the life that they have at that moment is greater than the pain to make that change that they know they need to make in an area of their life. And in this case, it's really going to be, if we're talking about business, it's going to be about their business that they're in, or whatever their job or their career has been, or maybe they don't have one right now. They're at a place where they have to, it's going to be more difficult for them to stay on that path. They're just done and they're ready to go to the next path. So if we talk to people about that, that is going to differentiate and sift and sort our prospects really, really quickly. It'll put them into different categories. And if we just go out and say, hey, I've got something I want to share with you, and it's this new area of science and wellness, which is the next $1 trillion industry, and do you have 20 minutes to meet me? I don't want to have that conversation with someone who's not at high noon right now. And I don't think you guys should waste your time in any other way that I'm doing. And I got to where I am without having to really be that diligent about this. But I am telling you, I understand exactly what Skip's talking about now. Because since I started doing that just in the last few days, I have absolutely had the most groundbreaking experiences talking to people about whether they're at high noon or not. And it's really more about them. It's not about you. And so when you're inviting and you're trying to find somebody who wants to learn about this, that's about you. It's not about them. So I really want to just stay focused on this, and I'll go through some different examples of what I'm saying. But I hope you guys can understand why I'm saying this to you right now. Because if obviously everybody, it's a Monday night, everyone on this wants to be successful in life manager. You wouldn't be taking time at 9 o'clock, on a Sunday night to do this. So, and you're right where you're supposed to be right now. Like if you haven't been as successful as you want to be, that's because the approach you're taking isn't probably using the high noon approach. I mean, everyone I've talked to about this, I've asked them what approach, you might be taking an approach that you have a business to share, but you're not necessarily asking them as directly as what I'm saying right now about whether they really are ready to make a change right now. If the right business opportunity came along, would now be a good time for you to take a look at that. And do not talk after you say that. If the right business opportunity came along, would now be a good time for you to take a look at that. And just don't squirm, just be quiet and wait for them to answer. And if they say, I don't know, maybe, okay, which a lot of people are going to be afraid to say yes because they don't want you to get too excited, but they might say maybe. It would depend on what it is. And I have a feeling that is going to come up a lot because that came up for me. But maybe is really good. Right? Maybe is now when I share the information about life management with that person, I know that there's a little glimmer of hope. There's something that person needs to happen. They're looking for something versus not having to have that conversation and just talking to somebody for half an hour who's looking at their watch and saying, I can't wait until this is over because I know that she's going to try to convince me to do something. Like he or she wants me to buy something or do something, and I'm not interested in that because they're totally shut down because you never asked them that question. You never made it about them. You made it about you and about how exciting what you had was for them. But they don't feel like you care about them. because you're just talking to them and you never even asked them really if they were interested completely in what you guys, in taking the time to look at this. So I think there's an opening when you have that conversation. So there's a couple different ways to do it. You can still, and I know, Julie, I don't want to train in a different way than what you do. And I know, you're on the same page. You wouldn't be a Pro 7 if you weren't doing business as your main, conversation. But I do know a lot of new people when they get involved, including myself, when they hear about the science, because we're attracting people mostly, and it's our fault because of how we're inviting, that are really interested in the science of nutrigenomics and in the science of Protandim, because it's so unique. But that doesn't mean that everybody else in the world cares about that right now. People care more about how to pay their mortgage, put money away for their kids to go to college, pay for a daycare. They care more about that than our study that shows that Protandim extends life. Some people don't want to live longer because they don't have enough money to live longer, or maybe they're sick. So really think about that. Like when you think about the stresses of where we are in our economy today, and how, just to give you guys a statistic, this is kind of scary. $700 billion in unpaid mortgages that are outstanding are just from the Harvey and Irma, just those two. This is before Maria hit. 700 billion in unpaid mortgages in those areas. And those are in mostly impoverished neighborhoods. Those people aren't going to pay their mortgages back. Their people don't have money. And so, so I'll give you a little bit of something I'm working on with my son. He's a senior in high school, and he's doing, he's reading on poverty and scarcity, and just how people are living in poverty and why they're still in poverty. And part of that, and this helped me a lot with the business. I needed to hear this all at the same time, is that people are completely maxed out in what they call bandwidth. And this is what this book talked about, having your bandwidth, which is like your computer. The bandwidth is the cables that go like to your phone and your computer, and the old, when you plug now we have Wi-Fi and all that, but that is completely maxed out. So just imagine you're sitting with somebody and they have financial problems, right? And you don't ask them if you can help, if there's a way you can help them with that. You just start talking to them about this product and how exciting it all is. And they're just like up to here. Okay. Even when maybe you did say, hey, Lynn, I have a business I started. I want to share it with you and see if it resonates with you. It's okay if you don't like it. I'm totally fine. I'm not attached, but I'd like to show it to you. Then they sit down and you start talking to them about, health and this pill and all this other stuff. And they're just like, their bandwidth is totally maxed out. They're not going to be able to even handle that information. It's just overwhelming to them. And I know I've brain dumped on so many people. Just all the excitement because I'm so knowledgeable about all this now. And I have never really taken the time to just sit and just talk to somebody about how maxed out they are, and if there's a way I can help them with that, and if there is, then we can sit down and talk about it. But even then, I want it to be more about them and the questions that maybe have come up for them in their life that I can help them to solve, like some of these problems. Then you show them the LifeVantage story. But really connecting with people. So the invite is all about solving a problem for that person. And it might be health. Maybe that's all it is. And then they can be a customer. So you're going to sort, you're going to sift and sort. If somebody says, no, I'm not interested in a business. And then you can say, well, if you could change anything about your health, if there's something, just think, is there anything you can think of right now that you wish was better in your life from a health perspective? Now, I've never asked anyone that question when they said, no, everything's perfect. So if, is there anything going on in your family or for you that maybe you wish was better in your health? And again, be quiet and let them think, because they don't know what you're going to ask them. We'll give them a minute to think, and I wish I could sleep better. Okay, now you have a conversation. Now you have a customer conversation versus just giving them information, and not really finding out what category they're in first. So you can kind of pivot a little bit. It's the same story, but it's going to pivot more toward business versus the products. And I hope that makes sense for you guys. And I want everyone to think about what they would want to say reframing their invite in that way. And I'm not going to give you the words to do it. I want you guys to think about that. Maybe we can do this again and people can give examples. So I went and called on a couple of business owners, which, by the way, you've got to get your chicken list out, because I still have one. And I think one of the reasons why I haven't called everybody is I've still been a little bit uncomfortable. It's with some aspects of this, and I think it was just more because I wasn't framing it right in my own mind until I actually thought about this the way that Skip shared it with me the other day, which is it's so much easier to approach people when you're thinking about what their problems are instead of your own. Like, you want to get a distributor. I have a goal to get 7 more distributors before now and the end of the year. And when I think about how I'm going to invite and find those people versus say, it's going to be so much easier to call people and talk to them about whether they're at high noon or not. I'm calling you, I haven't talked to you in a while. I started a business 5 years ago, and whatever your story is, it could be a month ago. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. For me, I'm in phase 2 of this business. And I've been wanting to call you about it, and I haven't. I don't really know why I haven't, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm calling you today because I really want to know how you're doing, and I want to know how your life is right now. And I want to know if what I've learned in the last 5 years about what I've been doing might be able to help you in some way. Now, I don't know if they can, but I'd love to just ask you a few questions. And those questions are going to be around your business and your career and, how that's working out for you in your life. Would you be okay with that? And they're going to be like, yeah. I mean, how many friends call up and start asking someone about their business and their life and their career? How often does that happen? Where you can just have an open conversation about it. So, and just have that conversation, so tell me what you've been doing. Is it what you thought it was going to be? Are you where you want to be financially from that? I'd love to know a little bit about this, because maybe what I've been doing could help you the way it helped me. And just be about them. So asking questions, and this is just like, it's not salesmanship, it's just friendship. Instead of just glomming onto that person and brain dumping them on how exciting what we have is. I think that's going to create a much more receptive person to hear the information. Don't you guys agree? Is anybody going like this? Right? So that's the approach that I'm taking. And I think each of us can find a comfortable way of doing that. And I'm happy to, put some questions together that people could use. But I think it's just really creates a much more simple and non-scary way to talk to people. So I went out on a couple calls with a new distributor that I have. He's a younger guy, and he's been going for all these young millennial people who really haven't had a career yet. They haven't had, all these horrible things happen. They're still sort of living in la la land. They're not doing well financially. The millennials they're doing really badly. I mean, they had 1/3 of all of the households living in poverty in the United States right now. And they have a lot of debt. From the ones that went to college have a lot of debt. So they're not doing well, but they don't experience pain the way that the rest of us that are a little bit older that have been out there do. So I'm telling him, go for the people that have been in business or people that are professionals. It's not necessarily the waitress at the restaurant or maybe the person working at Walmart behind the front desk. If you want to talk to those guys, it's really nice to do that. But I'm telling you, if you want to get your business moving faster, think of the most successful people that you know in your community, from your church, from your school, from your friends, and put those names on a list. And when you call them, you can say, listen, I put a list together of the most successful people that I've either met or heard of in our community, and you're on the list. And I'm calling you because for 2 reasons. One is because I have a business that I'm running, and because I've been so successful, I would love to be able to talk with you about this if you have a few minutes. And I also want to ask you if the business that you're in is where you thought it was going to be. You're an entrepreneur, and just have a conversation with them. How is it going for you? You don't have to be the superstar successful person to have a conversation with people about this. Nothing makes business owners happier than talking about their business and about themselves. It's just what they like to do because it's what they do all the time. So I was with some, we went into one place was a tile and cabinetry place, which I'm sure where you guys live, there's lots of those. He was a Persian man. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. We got this younger guy who I told, go after the older people. He used to work in selling ads in magazines. So he has all these businesses, window companies, carpet people, all this. So, we're going to go in and see these people face to face, call them and say, hey, I just want to stop in and say hi. So we went in there. And it was exactly that. I walked in, said, wow, this is a beautiful business. You look like you have a lovely, in products and things like that. How long have you been in business? How's it going? And most of the people say it's terrible. Honest to God. They're like, there's so much competition on the internet. And, everywhere we went to that place, went to another. If you go in and talk to people face to face, as opposed to talking to them over the telephone when you call them, that's going to be some businesses, it's going to be hard to do that. But if you can get the owner, you can sit down with them for a couple minutes and, have a conversation for a few minutes about how their business is going. So a lot of people will be very, they'll be pretty candid with you if you're in their space. So anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm just saying those personal face-to-face is another thing that I'm going to go back to. In the beginning, I did that. I really called people that I knew at the beginning, had meetings with them face-to-face. And then it turned into doing a lot of three-way calls after that because I was supporting a lot of people and I was doing calls for them, but they weren't necessarily going out and doing it that way. So we didn't duplicate, and I don't know, Julie, maybe you guys do, is going out and seeing people. Where we live around here, there's a lot of traffic and it's really difficult to do that. But it's something that I think will be much more effective at having these kinds of conversations. And then we're going to find the people that want to look at this seriously. And then we're going to give them the information. And then that can choose at that point what they want to do. And if they say, oh, I don't really have the money, you want to take the stuff away. You want to take it away from them. So this is very serious. You have the timing, you can go through all the wellness sector, the timing and trends, social commerce, everything that's changing in the economy. If they're not involved in a business that they can do from their smartphone, the statistics are within 10 years, their business is going to be obsolete. So you're giving them information that even if they love their business, they need to be able to run it from this. Otherwise, they're going to be out of business because everybody's going to be buying stuff this way. So you made a decision to get involved in a social commerce business, and it's in the fastest growing sector of the economy where more money is flowing. So this is what you want to talk to them about. And again, I'd be happy to give you that kind of language. But people are open to social commerce businesses. And if we start using that language, I think we're going to have a lot of success. As opposed to, network marketing and that kind of thing. So it's different. And when you start to paint the picture of what social commerce, what's going on in the industry of social commerce, or at least technology businesses, they're all going in the direction of supporting entrepreneurs in business. That's why they're thriving. Uber is an example. You've got people that need jobs and need money, and you can give these examples. Airbnb is an example. People have homes, they want to make money to rent. So you're telling somebody this story, okay? And this is going to make people understand why direct sales is it's just like those industries. Even Amazon now, right? Direct to consumer, drop ship, food, Whole Foods. Amazon is in all the different categories now, and it's supporting entrepreneurs who need to make money. People that want to have things, that they want to have them mailed through Amazon. Every business is using this now. Okay. So this is a way for business owners to make money. We're the same thing. We're just like any of those companies that use Amazon for shipping. So I really want you guys to understand that if we can use that, paint that brush, and then talk about biohacking the aging code, then it just becomes something like, wow, this is really interesting. So as opposed to just going in with the science. So I just wanted to have that conversation because this is where I'm going with my business right now. And I'm really having a lot of, it's only been a week since we had that, but I'm telling you, I'm more excited now than ever. And I'm more excited and have success in these conversations that I'm having.
Awesome. Yeah, I love this, Amy. You really have my wheels turning here. Um, and I really like the fact that, we're finding out if they're at high noon, because it's so true. It doesn't make any sense to, just regurgitate all the information, that we have to try to get somebody interested if they're not at high noon. That really makes good sense. So I think you're right. We're definitely going to be a lot more successful if we approach it that way. Everything you said, I just appreciate everything you said. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about social commerce. So you're basically saying like Airbnb and Uber. Uh, can you give a few more
I
examples?
can. Yeah. So if you think about those businesses, why have they been so successful? Why is Airbnb so successful? Why they've been successful because they've used technology, right? Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb? It's a website. You go online, you go, I'm going to San Francisco. I want to, instead of staying at a hotel, I'm going to rent someone's house for 2 nights. There's a market for this because people need money, and that's why they're renting their properties. So that's a business that helps the consumer, right? Us that want to rent a house. It helps the business owner, the guy that's the homeowner, and then the facilitator is the social commerce piece with the that's social business. It's coming online. And then the Uber is the same thing. Uber is all based on, if there weren't drivers that needed money and they're coming out of the woodwork. I mean, they set up another one called Lyft. I mean, there's thousands of people all over the United States that need money. So they're driving cars for hardly any money. I mean, all those people are good people too. There's a lot of really successful people, believe it or not, driving Uber just to pick up a couple extra dollars. So it's nice to have conversations with them as well. But again, that's a platform in the United States economy that's one of the most high valued companies in the world right now, all based on meeting entrepreneurs' needs, money, business owners, employees, with the consumer that has a need. They need to go somewhere and they want it to be easier because they want to do this instead of call, the taxi service and be on hold for 5 minutes till a taxi guy talks to them, right? So that's the marriage of the consumer and the entrepreneur and technology together. Amazon's the same thing. It's the same thing. Amazon is going online. You want something. I'm a consumer. I want something easier. Now I can get connected to Blue Apron, which is a food company that will ship food to my house every day so I can make meals prepackaged if I want to. That's an entrepreneur that set up that company. He couldn't do that without Amazon. Amazon's whole business now is going to be based on entrepreneurs setting up businesses that they can make money off of by people buying their stuff and having it shipped to their house. It's the biggest industry in the world right now. And then we have wellness, which is that huge category that has been in the last probably 7 years, pretty successful selling supplements online. All the vitamin stores are going out of business. Vitamin World just filed Chapter 11. They have 345 leases, and they have about 2,000 employees, and they do 200 million in sales, just as an example. Compared to LifeVantage, which only has about 200 employees, they have no stores except their own little, office in Utah, and everything's done through here and us. I mean, there's no way anyone would set up a vitamin business again and do it with stores. It doesn't make any sense. We don't want to drive to stores and buy vitamins. So the point is that if you can explain this new era in business to an entrepreneur, no matter what business they're in, they're going to understand where the value is in this here and serving our needs. And also, when you look at health and wellness, now what you're seeing is we have all these nutritional supplements, all this information online for our health. We're all using the internet for finding solutions for our health. And now we can show somebody, a business owner, how they can participate in the same economy that those other businesses are in by using this and using this computer and meeting the needs of customers and entrepreneurs together. So some of those people are going to be, and you can tell people this when you talk to them about the business. Some people that we're going to talk to are going to be the entrepreneurs like the drivers in Uber, and some are going to be just like the customer of Uber that just wants the taxi to show up at their house. That's the guy that just wants Protandim drop shipped to his house and our probiotic and a protein shake. Maybe he wants to lose weight. Maybe he wants to, heal his daughter's ADD, so he buys Axio. That's fulfilling that need. And you're going to meet both those needs, both those customers' needs. The entrepreneur, we're going to find them and we're going to help them make money. And we're going to also find the customer and meet their needs. And you know what? This is the solution right here. We're going to do our whole business through here, just like those guys do. And LifeVantage is going to handle all the back office for us, so we don't have to be in charge of any of that, which is the same thing in Uber, the same thing with Airbnb, the same thing with Amazon. We don't have to deal with any of this stuff, just like those companies. So it's the same. So this isn't talking about network marketing. This is talking about social commerce in it's a new era in the economy, and it's not going to go away. It's only going to become more important. Does that make sense to you?
That makes perfect sense. Yes, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's so clear to me now. It's so when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like network marketing," or "Oh, I don't want to do that," okay, you don't have to participate with the Uber or Airbnb or Amazon. You can just stay in the old way that people are working. But if you want to be part of the new economy, you have to make a decision how you're going to participate in that. I don't know how else you're going to do it. You can go drive around and drive Uber, but you're going to make about $8 an hour. We can make millions of dollars in this business. It just depends on where you're at and how open you are to be participating in the new part of the economy. And most people aren't participating in that, in the business that they're in or in their jobs. So you really, again, it's going to be sifting and sorting, because you only want people that are really going to understand what you're talking about and be willing to go, you know what, that makes a lot of sense to me. It makes, I don't know how it couldn't make sense to anybody. It's just whether they want to do it or not,
Right.
So
whether or not they're at high noon.
Exactly. And even if they're at high noon, maybe they don't want to do a social commerce business. Okay, you don't have to. But you know what? It's the fastest part of the economy right now, and it's moving really quickly. We can make money really fast in this. Give me the other options where you're going to be able to switch gears from whatever you're doing and get into a situation where you can actually, within 5 years, be really financially secure. I just don't know where else you're going to find that with the low overhead that we have and the minimal, investment to get involved in the company. So good luck with that. Next. Seriously, just keep moving. Just take it away. This isn't for you. You're not at the place yet. You're kind of behind. And I'm not trying to insult you, but if maybe you'll speed up a little faster, I'll call you in 6 months if you want me to, but I don't have time to talk to people that aren't ready for this sort of information. So, just take it away from them. And I wouldn't even talk to them about the products at that point. You could ask a question, and this is a good question to ask. Just make a decision if you want to talk to them about the products. Is if they say, this isn't for me, do you take any supplements? I think most people that take supplements will probably say, if they are at high noon, they'll be open to hearing about this. But if they don't take supplements, I wouldn't even talk to them. Now, if they're at high noon and they don't take supplements, it's totally fine, because you don't have to take supplements to be successful in LifeVantage. You don't have to have taken anything before to understand why you need to take our products. But if somebody doesn't take supplements and they're not at high noon, I wouldn't spend any time talking to them. Absolutely not. It's going to be a complete waste of time. It takes just as long to give them all the information. They're going to do research. They don't take supplements. They're going to be researching something they don't even know anything about. It's a total waste of time. So just say, you know what? 5 years from now, you'll hear about this from somebody else, and give me a call, or I'll stay in touch with you if you want me to. But it's nice seeing you again. Good luck to you. And just keep moving forward. And always be in a hurry. Even though when you're asking people questions, you don't want to be rushed, but you want to have, when you go in and see somebody, say, listen, I appreciate your time. I have about 15 minutes. And thank you so much for seeing me. I only have about 15 minutes and then I got to run. So just keep it tight so they know that there's it's not going to take too long.
Very good. Excellent.
Oh, well, thank you guys. And I'm here for you for a few more minutes if anybody has any questions.
Okay. Anybody have a question? I see somebody says here, can you share the link to that talk that changed your thinking? But that was the LV.
It was the LV Academy. But I think Seth Campbell has some videos online that may go through that. And I will look that up on YouTube. Seth Campbell has some really good new videos, and I think he talks about high noon. And maybe Skip does too. But Skip was it was like, I've never seen him like this before. He was so eloquent and so just really clear about this message. It really helped us a lot, all of us.
That's awesome.
Julie, I have a question. It's Bev.
Okay.
I guess, just a second, sorry. I feel a little bit funny asking, but anyway, I still feel like I'm a beginner, have a lot to learn. I'm really looking forward to the academy down in Florida and learning a lot there. But right now I'm not coming from a position of strength as far as the business. And I know somebody is going to say, well, what are you making? So how do you have to wait until you're a certain point to have that strength?
Absolutely not. No,
okay, how do you deal with that question when they say, okay, well, why aren't you doing it yet?
Well, so, okay, you've got to be ready for your story. So you got to be prepared for that. So how long have you been in LifeVantage?
Well, I've actually been in since January.
Okay, so you haven't been in very long.
I'm still crawling. Julie knows. I admit it. I admit it. I still feel like a beginner. So.
Well, listen, and again, you can say that, what you just said, and you want to be truthful with people. And you can say, listen, this is the first time I've done anything like this. So, there's a lot, it's my fault that I'm not any further along than I am.
Okay.
We have an amazing training. We have a compensation plan that's like in the top 10 of all direct sales companies in the world. I'm at a place right now where I'm really kicking this into high gear. And, it really takes, and bring the earnings claim statement out. Do you have that with you, or you can pull it up on the computer?
Yes.
This
compensation plan.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The earnings claim statement.
Okay.
And you can say, this is really, you get underpaid in the beginning and you get overpaid at the end. Mm-hmm. And the end really comes in about 5 years if you do this properly. Okay. So essentially we're condensing 25 years of what a typical person, if they were really successful in a business, would be making down into about 5 years.
Okay.
So, I'm just getting this going. I started in January, I got trained. I'll be honest with you, I've had some kinks to work out, but I think I'm at a place now where where this thing is starting to hum. Like, I can see this, how it's going to work. Just give it the positive, edify the system, and say maybe you haven't used it. And frankly, if you had used the system properly, you would be further along than you are.
Yes,
it's just the absolute truth, right? Maybe, it's, some people have beginner's luck and, you didn't. Okay. But now you're fine.
I'm going to be a snail, but I'm going to plod away,
But if you take this approach and you can say that, listen, in the beginning, I was selling little yellow pills. I was talking about the science. Now I understand that I'm focusing on the business, because that's how the most successful people in the business have grown quickly. And now I'm doing that. So, hey, hold on. Let me get Julie on the phone. So she's a Pro 7.
Yep.
And she's been very successful, and I'm working directly with her now. So we're going to move this thing a lot faster. Let's get get connected to the person who's successful. That's why you've got to get somebody on the phone, and then you can diffuse it. Just be honest with them.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't have a problem doing that. Sometimes I say too much.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. We all do. It's not you're not alone. You're welcome.
I have a question.
Hi.
I have a question. Since one of the things that we're taught is to show that ABC, live it right away when we're connecting with someone, then what do you suggest that we're using as a third-party validator? Because that's all about the product.
It is, but again, you're not going to show that until you've had the conversation on the invite about whether they're open to a business opportunity. So you're not just going to go in and say, hey, I got something I want to show you. You're going to have that conversation first. If you're going to use this approach, that is, I've got a business that I started, and I would like to ask you a few questions about whether you're open to looking at a business, if now would be a good time for you to look at a business or not, because I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste my time. So
then you're not really using. Right,
yes,
I understand
you're not. Yes, you're definitely going to use it. If they say, you know what, I am open right now. You know, it's good timing. Okay, great. Well, we're going to start off. I'm going to show you a little video. It's going to give you some information about what we're doing. and then I'm going to, tell you the story. And if you like what you hear, then I'll introduce you to some folks I'm working with. And they can explain a little bit more, answer some questions, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And, some people are, there's different, the company's coming out with a new video. We haven't seen it yet. I think they're going to play that at, at the convention or at the LV Academy, not Academy, at Elite Academy coming up here. And I hope you guys are all going, because that is, if you guys aren't going to the events, and I'm not going to ask Bev if she's been to every event since January, but if you're not going to the events, you're not doing the system properly. And that's really the most important part. Besides mastering the invite and doing it consistently, is going to the events, because that's really how you're going to build belief in yourself, and you're going to build belief in the company and all of that. So definitely, I'm sure Julie is telling you guys all that too.
Absolutely. Very good. One more question. Anybody else have a question? Let's see.
Yeah, the Lyme question. I see that in the chat. Did you overcome Lyme with Protandim? I really did. You guys, we can't make any disease claims. It just worked really well for me. I was taking about 20 to 30 supplements a day and had a really clean diet, exercise, doing all the right things. And I still had a lot of chronic inflammation, and I had a significant amount of arthritis in my feet and my ankles and my hips. And, but it was, it was manageable. I was still active and everything. But when I started taking Protandim, I went off of everything else, and it's been 5 years. I didn't go back on any of my other stuff. It's unbelievable. My feet, I'm sitting here, just swinging my feet around. My ankle that has a plate in it. I'm an athlete. I did an hour of spinning today. Then when I went for a walk, normally my feet would hurt. No pain at all in my feet. I have no pain in my hips. I have no brain fog. I have more energy. My skin's clearer. Sleep like a baby. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So, absolutely it was Protandim, but we can't say it treats, cures, heals, mitigates. But, that's all I changed. And I don't have all that other stuff in my body. It's wonderful and there's so many people that have had these same experiences. The Lyme is tough though. Most people that, unfortunately, when we get introduced to people with Lyme disease, because a lot of times it'll come up for us in the business where, oh, somebody has Lyme disease. I heard maybe this helps. By the time they come to us, they are so sick, you guys. If people that get to this information, when they're so sick with Lyme disease, it's hard for them to recover from this. And a lot of times they're not open to trying it if it gives them any side effects at all or makes them detox, because they've been so sick. So I'm always happy to talk to people with Lyme disease, but it's been hard because they'll get started on it and then they might have a little detox and they can't take it because they just don't want any pain in their bodies, any more than they already have. So always happy to talk to people. Have a lot of great stories of people with Lyme. As long as they'll stay on it for 90 days, they can get through that detox, then we can really help them. So I have been transformed in so many ways. It's just so, I am so thankful. I pray every day, and I'm so thankful to God that He brought this into my life, because my life has changed forever. I mean, I'm going to have a longer, healthier life. It wasn't good. My oxidative stress was off the charts, and I did that T-bar test. I was 100. And that was when I did that T-bar test about 4 years ago or 5 years ago before I started it. And then I did it again a year later, and it was 57% reduction in oxidative stress. So it's just unbelievable.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Oh, it's so sweet that you guys are sending these nice messages. And that's the other part. What a great community, right? One of the things of health is the society and the people we hang out with. You guys, they're saying it's the most important aspect of our health is the people that we rub elbows with and hang out with every day. So how lucky are we that we have this new group of friends that we never would have met, right?
Right.
So fortunate. We really, really are. And people are looking for that too. They're saying now that only, I guess it was like people that were born in the 40s had like 5 friends. And now people, when they're older, I don't know, there's some statistic. Now older people only have 2 friends and they used to have 5. So back in the 40s, they all had 5 friends. Now they only have 2. So, we need more friends. It's going to help us live longer.
Amen. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, you guys. Okay, I'm going to sign off, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.